the trading post on Kepler-44 to be hummed with the usual cacophony of 1,000 different species bartering, arguing, and conducting business. Erin walked through the crowded marketplace with her head held high, her hand resting casually on the hilt of her blade, a simple steel weapon that seemed archaic compared to the plasma rifles and energy weapons carried by most sentients in the galaxy. She was used to the stares. Humans were still relatively new to the galactic community, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 3 decades ago. Most species viewed them as primitive curiosities, barely evolved apes who'd stumbled into the cosmic arena through sheer luck rather than merit. "Watch where you're going, primate," a voice hissed as Erin accidentally brushed past a towering Crethean warrior. The reptilian alien stood nearly 8 feet tall, his scales gleaming an iridescent purple under the station's artificial lights. His name was Vexither, a mercenary captain known throughout the sector for his brutality and his collection of trophies taken from defeated opponents. "My apologies," Erin said evenly, stepping back. She had no interest in confrontation. She was here to meet Stanley, her partner, who was negotiating a cargo contract on the other side of the station. But Vexither wasn't finished. His forked tongue flicked out, tasting the air around her. "A human female," he said, loud enough that nearby traders began to pause their transactions. "Tell me, little mammal, do you even know how to use that primitive blade? Or is it just for decoration?" Erin's jaw tightened, but she kept her voice calm. "It serves its purpose." The Crethean laughed, a sound like rocks grinding together. Several of his crew members, equally massive and scarred, gathered behind him, forming a semicircle that blocked Erin's path. "Your species is pathetic," Vexither continued, emboldened by the growing crowd. "Weak bones, fragile skin, no natural weapons. You survive on your home world only because you had no real predators. And now you think you can walk among warriors?" "Let me pass," Erin said quietly. "Or what?" Vexither leaned down, bringing his massive head level with hers. His breath smelled of sulfur and rotting meat. "Will you cry? Will you call for your male protector? That's what human females do, isn't it? Hide behind their males while pretending to be equals?" Something cold settled in Erin's chest. She'd heard variations of this speech before. The galaxy was full of species that couldn't comprehend human sexual equality, that viewed human females as weak simply because they lacked the physical bulk of human males. She'd learned to ignore it, mostly, but there was something in Vexither's tone, something in the way his clawed hand reached out to grab her shoulder, that crossed a line. "I'll give you one warning," Erin said, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried through the suddenly silent marketplace. "Remove your hand." Vexither's laugh died in his throat. Perhaps he saw something in her eyes, that peculiar human look that predators throughout Earth's history had learned to recognize too late. His pride, however, wouldn't let him back down. Not in front of his crew, not in front of witnesses. "Make me." Little Erin moved. Her blade left its sheath in a motion so fluid it seemed like liquid silver. The Crethean's superior reflexes, his combat-hardened instincts, his warrior's training, none of it mattered. He'd made the fatal mistake that so many aliens made when encountering humans. He'd assumed that lack of natural weapons meant lack of danger. He'd forgotten that humans were persistence hunters who'd evolved to track prey across continents. He'd forgotten that humans were tool users who'd turned their entire planet into an arsenal. He'd forgotten that human females, despite averaging smaller than males, possessed the same capacity for calculated violence. The blade found the gap in his armor. Every species had weak points, and Erin had made it her business to learn them all. It slipped between scales with surgical precision, finding the major artery that ran along a Crethean's neck. Vexither's eyes widened in shock. He tried to raise his plasma rifle, but Erin was already moving again, her free hand striking a nerve cluster that paralyzed his arm. The rifle clattered to the ground. You couldn't," he gasped, purple blood beginning to pool around his feet. "I gave you a warning," Erin said softly, stepping back as the massive alien collapsed to his knees. "You chose not to listen." The marketplace had gone completely silent. Vexither's crew stood frozen, unsure whether to avenge their captain or flee from this small, terrifying human. Their decision was made when Stanley appeared through the crowd, his own blade drawn. his eyes scanning for threats. "Aaron?" he called out, then took in the scene. "What happened?" "He grabbed me," Aaron said simply, wiping her blade clean on a cloth before sheathing it. "He wouldn't let go." Stanley nodded, understanding everything in those few words. He'd been partners with Aaron long enough to know that she didn't start fights, but she always finished them. He turned to address the crowd, his voice carrying the weight of someone who'd been in the galaxy long enough to know its laws. By Galactic Council Law, Article 47, Section 3, any being who initiates physical aggression against another sentient forfeits their right to non-retaliation. This Creathian was warned. He chose violence. Any disputes can be filed with station security. No one moved. Vexither had stopped breathing. His massive body sprawled across the marketplace floor. His crew slowly backed away, then scattered into the crowd. As Aaron and Stanley walked away from the scene, they could hear whispers spreading through the marketplace like wildfire. Another story about humans. Another reminder that the new species wasn't as soft as they appeared. "You all right?" Stanley asked quietly when they were alone. Aaron nodded. "Tired of being underestimated. They'll learn," Stanley said. "Eventually." But as they disappeared into the crowds, both of them knew the truth. The galaxy was full of species that had evolved as apex predators on their homeworlds, but none of them had evolved on Earth, where the greatest predator wasn't the one with the sharpest teeth or the strongest claws. It was the one who could make weapons, plan ambushes, and refuse to quit.